FIFA just broke the World Cup, and they did it in broad daylight, in front of everyone, with a smile on their face and a press release calling it progress. The 2026 FIFA World Cup begins in June. It will be the biggest sporting event in human history. 48 teams, 104 matches, 3 host nations, 11 cities across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. A tournament so large, so sprawling, so commercially bloated that it barely resembles the competition that gave us Diego Maradona in 1986, Zinedine Zidane in 1998, and Ronaldo in 2002. This is not progress. This is product expansion, and the people who run football want you to confuse the two. Let us start with a number that changes everything. 48. For 36 years, from 1982 to 2018, the World Cup had 24 or 32 teams. 24 from 1982 to 1994. 32 from 1998 onwards. 32 was the number that gave us the golden era of the tournament. France 1998. Korea-Japan 2002. Germany 2006. South Africa 2010, Brazil 2014, Russia 2018, Qatar 2022. Every single one of those tournaments, with 32 teams, produced moments that are burned into the collective memory of football. Zidane's brace in the final, Ronaldo's hat-trick against Spain, Klose's records, the miracle of Greece, the humiliation of Brazil, the miracle of Iceland, the miracle of Morocco. All of it happened with 32 teams. But now FIFA has decided that 32 is not enough. In 2017, Gianni Infantino proposed expanding to 48 teams. The vote passed. The world barely noticed. And in 2026, for the first time in history, the World Cup will welcome 48 nations. 16 more than the tournament was designed to accommodate. To the question every serious football person has been asking since 2017 is simple: why? To the official answer is growth. FIFA talks about giving more nations the opportunity to compete on the world's biggest stage. They talk about developing football in regions that have historically been underrepresented. They talk about giving the game back to the world. The real answer is on page 47 of FIFA's own financial projections. The 2026 World Cup is expected to generate $11 billion in revenue. That is more than double the $5 billion generated in Qatar 2022. More teams means more matches. More matches means more broadcast slots. More broadcast slots means more television deals. More television deals means more money flowing into FIFA's accounts, and from FIFA's accounts into the pockets of the 211 member federations who voted for the expansion in the first place. This is not about football. It has never been about football. It is about the most successful commercial formula in the history of sport being stretched until the product itself starts to degrade. And the product is already degrading. Thimas haju wajudia dur. It is what 48 teams actually means in practice. The group stage now has 12 groups of 4 teams. The top 2 from each group advance automatically. That gives you 24 qualifiers. But 2026 also needs 32 teams in the round of 32. So FIFA has introduced a new round, a playoff round, where the 8 best third-placed teams from the group stage also advance. This means a team can finish third in their group, behind 2 other teams, and still progress to the knockout rounds. It means teams can draw all 3 group stage matches and still make it through. It means mediocre performances are no longer punished. It means the group stage has been structurally devalued. It Frenonemi's 32-team World Cup finishing third in your group sent you home. The jeopardy was real. The pressure was genuine. Every group stage match had stakes because the margin for error was thin. One bad result, and your tournament was in serious danger. It 30 expedskatutemi imnato tripston an the trupskatstudi. And the endred stimteth in the TD Team World Cup, finishing third in your group might still save you. The jeopardy is diluted. The pressure is reduced. The drama, the thing that makes the group stage the most compelling week in world football, is diminished by design. And then there is the quality problem. Because 48 teams means 16 more nations competing at a World Cup than the format was built for. And those 16 extra nations are not France and Brazil and Argentina. They are the 16th, 17th, 18th best teams in UEFA. They are nations from confederations where the gap between the qualifying standard and the World Cup standard is enormous. They are teams that will arrive in the United States, take their place on the world stage, and be eliminated by a combined score of 12-0 across 3 matches while the football world watches and asks why we are here. Let us be specific. Under the expanded format, CONCACAF, the confederation covering North and Central America and the Caribbean, goes from having 3.5 World Cup places to 6. 6 spots for a region where, outside of Mexico and the United States, the level drops dramatically. Caribbean nations that have never come close to competing at World Cup level will now have a realistic pathway to qualification. This is not a criticism of those nations. It is a factual assessment of where they stand competitively. The World Cup is the pinnacle of the sport. It should feature the best teams in the world, not the most geographically convenient. The same applies to OFC, the Oceania Football Confederation. New Zealand, the Solomon Islands, Fiji. These nations will now have a guaranteed place in a 48-team World Cup. New Zealand's highest FIFA ranking in recent history is 97th in the world. The Solomon Islands sit outside the top 100. They are not World Cup-level teams. They are national teams doing their best in a region where the resources, the infrastructure, and the competitive environment are nowhere near what is required to compete with Germany, Spain, or Japan. But they will be there, in the stadiums, on the screens, taking up group stage slots while the football world counts down to the matches that actually matter. Now, let us talk about the 3 host nations, because this is where the controversy gets genuinely uncomfortable. At 4, the United States, Canada, and Mexico are co-hosting 2026. Under FIFA rules, host nations automatically qualify for the tournament, regardless of their footballing merit. In 2026, that means 3 automatic qualifications, not 1, as has historically been the case. 3 nations bypassing the qualifying process entirely because they won a hosting bid. For Canada's FIFA ranking at the time of writing sits around 40th in the world. They are not a bad team. They have some excellent players, Jonathan David, Alphonso Davies, Tajon Buchanan. But 40th in the world is not World Cup level if you are being purely honest about the quality of football. Canada qualified for the 2022 World Cup on their own merits for the first time since 1986 and were eliminated in the group stage without a win. In 2026, they qualify automatically as hosts. When Mexico have not won a knockout match at a World Cup since 1986, 40 years, they reached the round of 16 in 1994, 1998, 2002, 2006, 2010, 2014, 2018, and lost every single time. They did not even make the round of 16 in 2022, eliminated in the group stage in one of the most humiliating exits in their World Cup history. In 2026, they qualify automatically as hosts. From the United States are the strongest footballing case among the three. They have young talent. They have players competing at the highest European level. They have genuine potential as a team. But they are hosting 78 of the 104 matches and qualifying automatically for all of them. The commercial incentive for a U.S. deep run in their own tournament is so enormous that every refereeing decision in every U.S. match will be scrutinized with a level of suspicion that would not exist if they had qualified on merit. And here is the number that nobody is talking about. To accommodate 3 automatic host nation qualifications instead of 1, UEFA, the confederation with the highest concentration of the world's best teams, had to give up 1 qualification spot. Europe goes from 13 World Cup places to 16 in the expanded format. But the additional places are not enough to compensate for the quality of the teams that could be excluded. A European nation that genuinely deserves to be at the World Cup will miss it, so that Canada and Mexico can attend automatically. That is not a hypothetical. That is the mathematics of the format. It for meaty. Now, let us talk about Gianni Infantino. Because no conversation about the 2026 World Cup is complete without the man who designed it. Infantino became FIFA president in 2016. He immediately began expanding everything: the World Cup, the Club World Cup, the number of competitions, the number of places, the number of dollars. He predicted 11 billion in revenue for 2026. He celebrated the Saudi Arabia 2034 decision as a triumph for football. He moved his personal residence to Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, in 2023, the same year FIFA awarded the 2034 World Cup to the kingdom in a process so fast and so lacking in genuine competitive bidding that UEFA voted against it. And Infantino gave a press conference before the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, in which he said, and these were his actual words, "Today I feel Qatari. Today I feel Arab. Today I feel African. Today I feel gay. Today I feel disabled. Today I feel a migrant worker." It was one of the most extraordinary statements ever made by the leader of an international sporting organization. It was meant to demonstrate solidarity. It demonstrated something else entirely. Under Infantino's leadership, FIFA has become the most commercially successful organization in the history of sport. It has also become, arguably, the most ethically compromised. The 2026 World Cup is his masterpiece, a tournament so large, so commercially optimized, so carefully structured to maximize revenue, that the football itself has become almost incidental to the exercise. And yet the World Cup still works. Because football is bigger than FIFA. Because when Kylian Mbappe runs at a defender in a knockout match, nobody is thinking about Gianni Infantino. Because when a nation nobody expected reaches the quarterfinals and their supporters fill a stadium with noise and color and belief, the sport transcends the organization that runs it. The 2026 World Cup will have group stage matches that nobody watches. It will have score lines of 6-0 and 7-0 as the world's best teams dismantle opponents who were never equipped to compete at this level. It will have a format that confuses casual fans and frustrates tactical analysts. It will generate $11 billion that will flow through FIFA and out to 211 member federations, some of whom will use it well and many of whom will not. But it will also have Mbappe. It will also have Vinicius Jr. It will also have Pedri and Bellingham and Bukayo Saka and whoever emerges from nowhere to become the name everyone is saying by the second week of the tournament. It will have moments that nobody predicted. It will have heartbreak and glory and the kind of drama that only football can produce. The 2026 World Cup is a compromised tournament. It is too big and too commercial and too willing to sacrifice sporting quality for broadcast revenue. It is a product that FIFA has expanded beyond its optimal size in pursuit of profit. But it is still the World Cup. And for all its flaws, for all the mess and the money and the mediocre group stage matches, it will still be the most watched sporting event on the planet. FIFA broke the World Cup, and we will all watch anyway. Unsent. That is the most damning verdict of all.